What's up guys, it's MTG Matt for you, back with another Adventures in the Forgotten Realms video in the 2022 standard format. And today we're going to be going to the ladder, and I have built my own version of a Skeletal Swarming control deck. So this deck has been around for quite some time, and it's built around this very enchantment here, Skeletal Swarming, 5 mana in Golgari colors, which says each skeleton you control has trample, attacks each combat if able, and gets +X/+0 where X is the number of other skeletons you control. And then it says at the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1 black skeleton queen token. If a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. So, as long as we have Skeletal Swarming on the board, we have an ever-growing board of skeletons that become more powerful each turn with trample, and eventually just overrun our opponent. And that's the very simple win condition, and the way you win is basically that you know, every turn you get free value of Skeletal Swarming, and the board gets more and more full with these skeletons, and eventually you basically win a value war in that you get free value from Skeletal Swarming, and if your opponent has to use his cards, he needs to spend his cards to deal with those skeletons, eventually should come out ahead, right? Because you're not spending a card every turn to keep up the pressure for Skeletal Swarming. And so the way this deck wins is then by simply controlling the rest of the game, everything surrounding Skeletal Swarming. So how do we do that? Well, first off, we want to try to get to Skeletal Swarming quite fast, so we have ramp in the form of Shambling Gas, makes treasure tokens, Prosperous Innkeeper makes treasure tokens, and gets us life every time creature enters the battlefield under our control, which happens for Skeletal Swarm naturally, and this is just some extra nice value that Innkeeper gives us, and can really provide us with some huge life gain over the course of the game, which you should not underestimate, especially in more aggressive matchups. And then, of course, we got Deadly Dispute as a 4-off, which lets us draw cards and also ramps us by creating treasure tokens. Then we also have 4 copies of Eye Twitch, which gives us access to lessons in the sideboard. Actually, let me move my camera quickly. So we've got 2 copies of Environmental Sciences to grab those lands, single copy of Necrotic Fumes. Since we get 3 skeletons every turn, Necrotic Fumes can work quite consistently, and as a one-off, it's just nice to have to gain access to hard removal for planeswalkers and creatures. Single copy of Containment Breach for the mirrors, but occasionally we also need it for other matchups, and then 3 copies of Masked Exhibition. The fact that we only have 4 copies of Eye Twitch as our only means to get to our lessons means that most often we won't need 3 copies of Masked Exhibition, but it's just nice to have, right? So you could argue that you might want to add another Necrotic Fumes in there, just to have more access to removal. But that's how it is for now. Then for further control tools, we have 4 copies of Binding the Old Gods, removes any non-land permanent, and ramps us. 4 copies of Baleful Mastery. I've become a huge fan of this card, or like, even more of a fan of this card because of the standard 2022 format, because the reality is that almost every deck runs manlands in the form of Faceless Havens or the colored manlands, which means that you really want an instant speed way of removing creatures, which Baleful Mastery is, and obviously is very flexible with the 2 mana option also. Also gets rid of planeswalkers, which is also very important in this format, because of all the laws and occasionally Mordenkainen's and so on. And then for further removal, we got 4 copies of Blood on Snow. It's just a destroy all creatures, which is the reason I've got it in here, because this deck occasionally might struggle against more aggressive matchups, in which cases you would want a sweeper that comes down earlier, like a Shadow's Verdict, or even something like a, what's it called, a Culling Ritual. But I figured, since you can only play best of 1 right now in STEM 2022, and I figured that Colin Ritual is more of a sideboard card, I feel like the Blood and Snow is just generally better. Because we have so much ramp that even against aggressive matchups, this can down early enough to deal with white boards. And then it's just better, right? Because it destroys everything. And also we get occasional value by, you know, returning Prosperous Innkeeper or Shambling Gas back to the battlefield. Finally, we got 2 copies of Hardness Infinity, which really gives the stack this, like, last bit of, how can you say, like, durability against control matchups, right? Because the only source of card draw we have in the stack is Deadly Dispute. So Hardness Infinity single-handedly can draw us like 7, 8, 9 cards, which should be enough to close out the game as long as we have Skeletal Swarming on the board. Or it even gives us, you know, the ability to get a Skeletal Swarming back from the graveyard. So 2 Hardness Infinity to give us this last bit of value. And then I got a little bit of spice in here, which is 2 copies of Vorpal Swords, right? It's this new artifact equipment from AFR. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch, and got an equip cost of double black, which is totally fine in the stack. It's relatively easy to pay that cost. And then it's got this activated ability, 8 mana. Until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever equipped creature is combative to a player, the player loses the game. Now, the reason I have this in here is, first off, just for fun reasons. It's probably better to cut this and put something else in, maybe just more removal. But this has a real nice interaction with the skeletons from Skeletal Swarming, because the skeletons from Skeletal Swarming we get, they have Trample. And if you combine Trample with Death Touch, what this means is that in order to kill a creature with Death Touch, you need to assign 1 combat damage to that creature, right? And if you do that, the rest of the power of the creature, if the creature has Trample, can still go face. So what this means is that if you got like a 3/1 skeleton with Trample, and it's got Vorpal Sword equipped, this means that if our opponent blocks a skeleton, the skeleton will assign 1 damage to the blocking creature to kill it with Death Touch, and then the remaining damage still connects to face, which means that if we then activate the activated ability of Vorpal Sword, we straight up win the game. So that's some really cool interaction right there, and I just, you know, I wanted to use this card for a long time, so here you are, and this can lead to some occasional really cool wins with this. Also, even if you don't have the mana to activate the ability, this is a deck that, you know, wins by going face. But our creatures are actually very small, right? The skeletons also start out small, so just having the option to pay 2 mana when you have nothing better to do, to give one of your creatures +2/+0, can go a long way, actually. And then finally, we are in the standard 2022 meta, so you need manlands. We got 4 Faceless Havens, because with Blood and Snow, we run Snowlands anyway, and then 2 copies of Hive of the Eye Tyrant, which is just another manland, and which is actually quite relevant, because Blood of the Snow is used a lot in this format, and Hive of the Eye Tyrant is a way to exile cards from your opponent's graveyard, which means you can get rid of those Planeswalkers in your opponent's graveyard, so you can't revive them with Blood on the Snow, with just some added value. And that's my take on Skeletal Swarming Control. You should give this deck a try. I think it's quite competitive. It's also quite a lot of fun just trying this card out, and hope you guys enjoy the videos, and I see you guys soon. This seems okay. Go with the Ghast. If you have the choice between Eye Twitch first or Ghast first, I tend to go with Ghast, because if you like a Deadly Dispute turn 2 on a Shambling Ghast gives you 5 mana on turn 3, which can give you a Skeletal Swarming on turn 3. Okay, there's the Deadly Dispute. I think I'm gonna get a scientist here. Just have a land drop for next turn. Okay, good thing we got the binding. Let's get rid of this extra cast chariot here. Yeah, let's get rid of this innkeeper. Also, we can get a treasure token here, which can give us access to Blood in the Snow if we feel the need for it. Oh yeah. We definitely want... Oh damn. We needed a land there actually. But it's still fine actually. Just play another Blood on the Snow. Sorry, another Binding. This 8 damage with his 5 the same, it's 12. Yeah, we just play Shambling Gas because Shambling Gas can block and replace the treasure here, so then we can block the Faceless Haven and have a Blood on the Snow guaranteed for next turn. Seems good. Seems good. Also, if you borderline next turn anyway, there's no need to not block here. Like, no reason to not block here. Let's get an Eye Twitch. Right? We want access to more learn cards. Because now we're at 7 lands, so we can start getting mascot exhibitions. And you can see, like, the win condition of this deck is Skeletal Swarming. But you can get to a point in the game where, in this case, you have like an Eye Twitch, you can get mascot exhibitions, and... Should I just double block? No, probably not. Or start attacking with your Faceless Haven, right? Let's play the Innkeeper and then the Mascot Exhibition for some life gain. See, the Innkeeper gives you really good value with the life gain. And now we're out of cards. He's probably like the Vorpal Sword in this deck is like a meme aspect, right? It's probably just better to cut those Vorpal Swords and put in 2 more Harness Infinities, right? You just go in here. We just go in. Yeah. I'm gonna probably cut the Vorpal Sword for 2 more Harness Infinities. It's more competitive that way. Wait, I think we have lethal. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Alright. Hello. Oh, look at this. We might have the dream opening in turn 2 dispute, turn 3 swarming. Those blood and snows also look promising. Okay, this is a lot of pressure on the board. But I think we're going for it. Turn 3 swarming. And we still haven't taken any damage yet, so it's fine. We have a Shambling Gas and Eye Twitch for more blocks down the road. And Baleful Masteries, and then we can eventually get to our blood on the snow. And this says when it dies, so we can exile this guy. You're gonna exile it with your Baleful Mastery. And our army of skeletons is growing. Let's go. Should I let that resolve? I think actually yes, because I want him to use the trigger of Ranger class on his Cragmaw to waste it. Okay, he didn't. I like keeping the skeleton there. It's pretty much irrelevant if we're eventually going to wipe the board. Another mastery. I think now we just put down our blockers. Cool. Okay. Baleful Mastery is also gonna be great against the Slayer of the Hydra here. Or against the Loth.
Darkness will swallow. My power is for annihilation.
Yeah, we're gonna have to exile this Loth here. That's annoying. No 6th land here. That's pretty good trade. See, that's what I'm talking about, like these kind of trades. We just get our skeletons back, and he lost the wolf, which represents part of his value from Ranger class, right? So many Ranger classes, okay. Oh, okay. So we block here, avoids the damage, and we have our guaranteed 6 mana this way. I think, well, we could Containment Breach these Ranger classes, but there are so many that we might as well ignore them. I'm gonna get Mascot Exhibition. Let's get an Eye Twitch back. And we just wiped the board. Oh, I see. Okay, now this Eye Twitch becomes very important. Oh yeah, let's go. No, wait, cancel. Attacks first. This way we get one more damage in. So now we're getting a containment breach to get rid of his Skeletal Swarming. I'm just planting down a Vorpal Sword. Could hold open the mana for oh wait, yeah, should I mean no, we're not gonna die to a lair. Ah. Yeah, I probably should have held open a Baleful Mastery just in case. And GG. Hey there, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of content and want to see more fresh decks and standard meta decks, please consider subscribing, I would really appreciate it, and I see you guys soon.